Wow, this is very intimidating to be up here on the lectern and the pulpit. I have been a small business owner for the better part of 26 years. I joined the Green Party as an independent voter. I had been registered both Republican and blank at points in time based on where I was living and what the primary situation was, so I could have an impact on my local politics. But when the Greens were prescient enough and brave enough to run Ralph Nader for president in 2000, when Eddie Vedder was brave enough, when Rage Against the Machine were brave enough, when the New York Times was brave enough to totally ignore Madison Square, the emperor wore no clothes. Voters were being woken up. I was watching Ralph fight a battle seemingly by himself. Somebody I had already had great respect for, had read the writings of, had followed the career of, if we want to call being a tireless worker on behalf of the working class a career. It was a calling. You know, I really honor this man. I became a Green because you guys were smart enough to know that Ralph needs our support. Ralph needs us to advocate for him. Ralph needs us to be activists. And he needs that because he's not working for himself. He's working for all of us together. He's being our voice. I've met a lot of similar people within the Green Party since joining just after that election. We had arguments about whether or not we were Naderites, or whether or not we were going to be Democrat light, or whether we were really a political party, or whether we were a large group of activists trying very hard to find the most constructive space in which to have a voice in these complicated times. One of the most impressive people I met during that period of time is that man sitting right over there, Howie Hawkins. I only have 3 minutes left, so stop applauding me. I just want to say that I don't love Howie and adore him because he's a cuddly, wonderful teddy bear of a human being. In fact, I think we'd have a lot of trouble sitting down and having a conversation about the game or anything. Howie is so hyper-focused on what it is he's doing, which is a calling, that I find it causes me to be awestruck in the same way I am in the presence of Ralph. These are truly brilliant human beings who have purposely and emotionally chosen to give their time to us as a collective. And I can only say that my race for Congress is completely on the backs of my very small participation in this collectivist group called the Green Party that helped Howie get on the ballot last time around. But as many state committee people will tell you, you know, Howie did this really 90% of the effort. The rest of us were kicking in 10%. And what we really always need to ask ourselves is, are we giving everything we can the way this man is? And when the congressional seat opened up in my neck of the woods, my answer for me was no, I'm not doing everything I could do. We have an incumbent dropping out and leaving an open seat. We have a Republican majority that's going to win the race easily. We have a Democratic Party at the national level that cares about control of Congress, but doesn't think it's going to come from the race we're having right now, because they've spent not a penny on it. They keep promising and then pulling the ad money away from the self-funded Brooklyn multimillionaire filmmaker they have running as if he's, you know, a chosen Democrat. Democratic county chairs have jumped ship to publicly and privately endorse me. Almost all the Republicans I know in the small area I live in Glens Falls, have said to me, we're going to vote for you. That support is a little quieter than the Democratic support, but they're both mad about the same thing. They're mad about a simple fact I know and you do too. Congress's approval rating hovers between 8 and 12%. We're all disgusted. I always ask, who's that 8 to 12% that like the job they're doing? Do they really exist, or did they just add that in automatically later, like attendees at a hockey game, they're season ticket holders or something? I'm disgusted all the time, 100% of the time, and I think most of us are. So when somebody leaves an open seat and two candidates come in who very obviously are not only tourists, as Ralph would kindly call them, they're very much from outside the district, but they're also coming in with money. In Aaron Wolf's case, the Democrat, he's coming in with money he's getting from his wife. He married a lot of money. In the Republicans' case, she's getting it from Paul Ryan and Karl Rove and Crossroads. Two more obvious examples of machine politics could not be had. I represent or will represent the Adirondack Park. That's basically my district. And I've been in all of the debates that were televised and the three that were not as well. In almost every case, when the media has been brave enough to say somebody won it or somebody actually shone in those debates, it's me they're talking about. You know, Aaron Wolf is stumbling through a terrible candidacy and a terrible race in which he looks very ineffectual. And the Republican is very much a young woman who is parroting Republican National Party propaganda, talking points and platitudes, on message all the time. Very boring, very not full of any information whatsoever. So we're having a great race. In the first poll, the Siena poll that was done, we polled 10%. For a $30,000 race, that's about what we'll have raised from start to finish. That's amazing. We all know that's historic, in the same way that Howie polling 9 to 12 or 24 in Syracuse is amazing. What I would like to ask all of you is this. I'm here on Howie's coattails. I'm running on Howie's coattails and on the Green Party's coattails, and I recognize that, but I'm part of building a foundation. We need your support in that, all the candidates who will speak to you today. I'm not raising money directly here today, but I would like to ask that if after the event is over, Ralph will be signing copies of one of his books at a table, and every copy of those books has been allocated to our congressional campaign. In the interim, I would ask that let's, in this room, raise all the money we can for Howie Hawkins and for Brian Jones, because they're amazing, credible, articulate, independent, progressive candidates, and whether they win or not, we need to keep building. They're doing that for us and with us. Let's applaud them, and let's move this show along. I'm done. Thank you.